Welcome to Grown Man Bars.
Might be the single most important beat in hip hop.
And Q had a lot of things built up from the time that he had served with them. B.A., this one was yours, man. Let me hear why you chose that.
If we know that. But he turned a lot of people off. What? I mean, I did get my money back, so there's that.
What's good, family? Happy Black History Month. You are now rocking with Grown Man Bars, the best hip-hop show for grown-up America, where Black history is American history. I'm your man, Chad, and with, as always, is a veteran who's been in the game so long when he first hit the streets, the Dead Sea was still sick. You might have to catch up to that one. B.A., what's buzzing, cousin?
What's going down, baby Bubba?
That's what's up. Tonight, we thought we'd kick off Black History Month with a celebration of our top 10 list of MCs who passed away too soon and that we would love to have back. But we want to make sure we celebrate them because in their ways, they made history as well. So we want to celebrate that. If you got one, throw it down there. We want to hear it. Let's hear what you got. There are two names you will not hear on this. Let me go ahead and get this out of the way. We will not put Biggie or Tupac on this list. They would be on this list, of course, but after 25 years of Biggie and Tupac, there is absolutely nothing to say. None of them has been, neither one of them has released anything in 25 years. They haven't said anything in 25 years. You still miss them. The gap that they left in the game is still there, but we're going to move on to other people to give them their flowers. So we're going to start in our top 10 list of MCs who passed away too soon. Magoo. B.A., this one was yours, man. Let me hear why you chose that one.
First of all you people on earth who slept on Melvin, shame on you. Shame on you. And Timbaland and Magoo, man. Magoo was one of those dudes who was well known for the voice. I mean, he was a bar wordsmith. We know that. But he turned a lot of people off, I assume, because of the tonality of his voice. But if you got past that voice, brother, he was on bars, spitter. You hear what I'm saying? Spitter. What you think, yo?
I was one of those that was turned off by his tone. But one thing I always will say with him is whenever you were paired up with two other monsters, like he was when he was paired with Timberland and Missy when he was working, to not get swallowed up by them, that says a lot about you too. He was not the number one artist out of that group, but not getting swallowed up by two personalities as big as Timberland and Missy was still, like, people made jokes, but he held his own, and that's still a statement.
Yeah, when you talk about carrying your weight, let's think about it for a minute. We've heard of and witnessed, and y'all can lie in the comments if you want to, but we've heard some artists not be able to handle a Timberland beat. We've also heard, rumors of artists being very careful for what Timberland beat they pick. And Magoo, man, he wrote a line that was very delicate. He knew as far as a rapper with the Timberland Magoo, he had to be the rapper. So he had to be the number one. He had to carry the bars. But then you put him on a song with Missy and he understood you just couldn't get your head beat in. You might couldn't always go bar for bar with her, but you just couldn't get your head beat in. You know what I'm saying?
It was like Garden. It was like Garden Kobe. I'm just gonna try to keep him under 30, man. I'm just trying to keep him under 30. That's all I'm gonna try to do.
I mean, that's kind of what it is.
And that's a good point too about the production, to be able to work on Timberland beats on a regular basis and not get swallowed up by him. We've said that other rappers have picked his beats and picked the wrong one, and the beat took them over. And to be able to work regularly with that, making the right choices and working with his production, that says a lot to him. So definitely R.I.P. Magoo. On our list of top 10 MCs that are no longer with us, that we want to pay our respects to, is my man coming from Port Arthur, Texas. Not Port Arthur, Port Arthur, Texas. Chad Butler, Pimp C. The one thing I'll say about Pimp C is, I mean, I was a big Pimp C fan, still am. I'm not going to call Pimp C a lyricist because I don't think you can really it would be hard to argue that because I just don't think that was what he intended to be. I don't think he was trying to do that. Pimp C had a certain thing that he did, and it was being real. Pimp C was just authentic in his music. You heard his interviews, and man, he was just authentic in his music, and I appreciated the realness he brought to all kinds of situations. Like as funny as it was about how what he thought about doing Big Pimpin', or him telling Paul Wall and Chamillionaire they need to squash their beef, or anything, that he jumps into, he is 100% just straight off the cuff. And that's what I like about the pimp.
Funny you say that because when people argue, yeah, this person's lyrical, he's not lyrical, Pimp C tried to do one thing, be Pimp C all day, every day. Pimp C, and I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum because even though I liked UGK when they first came out, I wasn't a big Pimp fan until he set this ish straight. Let me lay down the rules. If it's talking ish, then that girl go after. Like, I mean, like, what we doing? The very next thing he said was his name, and the rest of the verse happened. Like, those artists are some of the most original, authentic kind of people, and I feel like we're missing a lot of that lately. But that
Mm.
dude, he didn't have no forced persona. That dude was that dude.
All the time. And that was what made, I think that's what makes his music even better because you knew his music was just an extension of him.
Yeah.
It wasn't because a lot of rappers admit that they have a persona that they're being when they rap. And Pimp was not one of those. He was more trying to make his music match who he was, I think, than trying to make himself match some persona.
I mean, was there any other larger statement of "this is me, this is who I am" than his wardrobe in the Big Pepper video? Right? Boom. This is me. This is what I do. Crazy. R.I.P. Chad. R.I.P. Pimp.
R.I.P. Pimp. So next up on our top 10 list of MCs who passed too soon, Mr. Heavy D, a man from the 80s and the 90s who had a huge impact on hip hop, whether people know it or not. But
Mhm.
BA, this was your choice, and I'm gonna let you go.
Okay, first and foremost, if you're a big dude, let's keep it a buck. If you're a big dude, you should thank Heavy D. The overweight lovers in the house set a trend for the big dudes. Understand, there was large guys doing whatever they do. We had a whole group, the fat boy, like we had a whole group, but nobody was saying they was like sex symbols. The overweight lovers in the house set a trend for Biggie, Big Pun, 8 Ball. Like these dudes transition into like a Don like character with that, that was a love it and the styles didn't mean anything. But Heavy was so important because he was influential in another distinctive era of hip hop in the 90s called a New Jack Swing era, where it was all about feel good, partying, positivity. But the dude could spit and he didn't cuss like at all. Even made a song called Don't Cuss. Even flipped the verse that said Cool T in it. That's all I'm gonna say. Cool T. If you get it, you
And you
get it. And the cool thing about Heavy is Heavy had a perfect excuse to cuss. He's Jamaican. Like he's from Jamaican Queens. I mean, he's money under Mount Vernon, but he's Jamaican. You know what I'm saying? Like he could have rushed up, he could have put a lot of bomba clots into a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? But he
right.
instead he diddly dee. You know what I'm saying? He gave us something that when you walked away from Heavy D music, you felt good. And if you didn't, you're a hater. So that's just like
Yeah, that is there was such a great movement there in the late 80s and the early 90s. Like you said, New Jack Swing, when hip hop and R&B started collabing together. And he was a huge part of that. And that was just such a fun movement. They
yeah,
made so
yeah.
many songs that just made you feel good. They were just that feel good vibe, that party vibe. And it took you away from things for a few minutes and at a time when we really needed it. So that music he was definitely a pioneer and a major player in that era. So, oh man,
Shout
R.I.P.
out.
Heavy D.
Yes, sir. The diddly dee.
Moving on to our next MC on our top 10 list of MCs who were gone too soon, Nate Dogg. Now, BA, I know you need me to explain this, how he ended up on the MC list. I know you need it. So I thought about this because I knew you'd need this explanation. I thought about this for a long time. You know me, I'm a research nerd. I did my research. I mean, I went to
Yep.
work on
Sure,
this, and
sure.
here's what I came up with. Man, come on, man. Just let me have Nate Dogg on this list. How many lists am I gonna get to put Nate Dogg on? I mean, I mean, who are we gonna we gonna do an episode on best hats? Because he would definitely be top 10 best hats in the rap game. But no,
Yeah.
seriously, I mean, I put him I put him on here because I know he's a singer. He wasn't just what you would call a straight up rapper, but his albums were always rap albums.
Yeah.
And here's the thing that is the most special to me for Nate Dogg from 2000 to 2007. If you released an album, you had to go pay Nate Dogg to sing a hook on one of your tracks. And that is a long run.
And it was money well spent.
We can probably remember the hook. Maybe not the
Of
song.
course
We
we
can probably
can.
remember the hooks.
The hooks were the most memorable for most of those songs, but it was money well spent. Now, I too do my research, and this is not 100% accurate. This is more opinion, but I'm pretty sure there was a 6-year run where every song he put his voice on, the single went platinum.
Wow.
So
Mm.
if you're hearing what I'm saying, you've smoked weed every day, like you heard a couple things.
Hold up.
Oh, right, hold up. Right, you've heard those ad libs, but the hooks are got home. Like you've heard those hooks, and Nate Dogg has really been. I can't deny it. You know what I'm saying with Fab and like it. So many, so many. And I was with you with Nate on the hip hop tip. I just needed you to, I just needed you to give me your reason. But I mean, hell, I'm in the same mindset with Nate. Oh, Uggs did harmony. Nate did harmony. It's fine. Like it works out. You know what I'm saying? It all works out.
Yeah,
For
it's
real.
not like it's not like Nate was gonna be able to do an R&B track with Beyonce or Mariah Carey and be on their level. I mean, Nate was
He's
a
not a
rapper, man.
crooner. Right, right, right. He's not a crooner.
He wasn't gonna do anything with D'Angelo or anything like that.
They wasn't going to
The how
invite him
does
to the new Rat Pack. He wasn't
the,
on that level.
the How Does It Feel remix featuring Nate Dogg.
Right. You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't be the sixth member of New Edition or nothing, but he all right. He all right.
But definitely R.I.P. Nate Dogg.
Facts.
Next on our list of top 10 MCs who are gone from us too soon, Craig Mack. 1,000 degrees. B.A., sir, your choice. You kick it off. Craig Mack, man.
Greg Mack, 1,000 degrees. You'll be on your knees and you'll be burning back and play. Brother Frank, listen up, man. First of all of you Biggie fans love Biggie to death. All you Biggie fans. If you don't know who Craig Mack is, you're not a Biggie fan. Okay? So, Bad Boy established Biggie, Mace, Kim, a lot of artists. But how did Bad Boy become Bad Boy? I'll tell you, 2 words. Craig Mack. On the strength of a song called Flavor in Your Ear, right? Broke up enough ground, kicked up enough dust to get that momentum started for that label. And we got what we got from that, right? Shouts out to Craig Mack, man. People don't understand his style. Again, another one of those 90 artists that style, nobody was doing that. Nobody I mean, it came from a run. You had Craig Mack. Then we got to hear a little DOS effect. You just started hearing people on other levels of rhyme schemes that we weren't getting before, right? No more
Hey,
punchline setup, nothing like that.
Hype Williams on the remix video.
Let's not even talk about the man. What?
Yeah, I mean, but I'm just talking about with Hype doing that. You're bringing in this era, man. Mac was right at the forefront, and there's always guys like you can use the Spurs as an example. If you're a Tim Duncan fan, then you better put some respect on David Robinson's name. This
Yeah,
might be like one.
yeah,
This might be one of those
yeah.
situations. Like if you're a Biggie fan, you got to put some respect on Craig Mack's name because you couldn't get the one without getting to the other.
Got to, right? And that's a great analogy. I mean, before we had the big fundamental, we had to add morale. You know what I'm saying? And for all you Spurs fans, you know what I'm talking about. Family, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I brought the Spurs up. I couldn't find a better reference. R.I.P. Craig Mack. Coming up next on our list of top 10 MCs who are gone too far. I had to dig deep in the bag and give some respect to the underground community and Sean Price. Boot Camp Click, Helter Skelter, and his own work. Here's the one thing I'll say to wrap up why I respect Sean Price so much, because of how long he was underground. He spent his
Yeah.
career he spent his career underground. And either you're underground early on in your career until you try to level up, or you're underground because you have a specific sound that is just not made for a national audience.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
or you're just
Yeah.
or you're just terrible, but that is definitely not the category I'm putting Sean Price in. I think he had a sound that was just not a national sound audience, and at that time, I think hip hop is big enough now that people with very niche sounds can still have a big audience, but it wasn't at that time. And you stayed underground for the love of hip hop, and that's what makes that special.
I mean, that's crazy. So, like, Sean Price's career started in 2020. So it's first time we would have ever heard of Sean Price, 2020. And his career went exactly the way it went, minus him passing on, but just exactly the way he went. He would be very similar to a Tyler Creator at that point,
Mhm.
right? He would be along
Somebody
those
like Tech
lines.
Nine.
Tech Nine, Earl Sweatshirt. He would be in that area easily because this dude was three people in one person. What? Oh, no other way to say that. If you ever heard the boot camp click and you didn't know who Sean Price was, that's okay. He was that dude that you went, wait, I like that dude, right? Then he goes to Helter Skelter and you go, I thought the dude from boot camp click was down with Helter Skelter, right? Sound like two totally different people, but you could still pick him out. And then his individual solo stuff, again, he reinvented himself again. It's like he was able to morph in all these pockets and still keep his individuality, which this dude is crazy with his. Love that dude, man. Shouts out RIP for real.
Definitely RIP to Sean Price and one of the true underground kings. Next on our list of top 10 MCs who passed away too soon, Big Pun. We mentioned him earlier and now he's here. And another David Robinson, Tim Duncan situation.
Easily. You know what? They might have been closer to Scotty and Mike ish. No. I got it. Penny and Shaq. They was Penny and Shaq because Penny never got to reach his full level of what everybody thought he would. And then Shaq went on to have Shaq-like career. So it's kind of like Pun and Joe. Again, the man told you earlier, we do our research. We don't just get on here and just pull rabbits out of hat. So, I mean, we got some age on us. We lived through a lot of things, but we also do some little research as well. Little tip, Pun, first Latino artist to ever go plat. And I think that's dope as hell. Because if you look back at that album, if you look back at as Puerto Rico really started to stand up in hip hop, they kind of stood on Pun's shoulders, right? Terror Squad, everybody kind of, it was Pun or bust. Pun broke through and then everybody else started coming through. So shouts out to Pun for that, man, for real. We all know
Yeah,
he's a crazy lyricist.
two words. Yeah, baby. That's it. Two words, man. Like two words. There are some like we've talked about this with other rappers before. There are some albums that you put out that are so good that if you didn't really do anything else, I'd still remember you for that album. Like if that was the only
Yeah,
album you ever did, I'd
that
be
was
like,
it.
hey, remember back in '94 when that one dude did that one album? We never heard from him again. Then it became a school teacher in Paducah, Kentucky. I don't know what they do. I don't know what happens when you disappear. I don't have that kind of
You
money.
know what happened. If you pack the
Okay.
Mac in the back of the house, you know what it is.
But definitely, definitely RIP to Big Pun, man. That sound was so
Yes,
much
sir.
fun. Coming up next on our top 10 list of MCs that were taken from us too soon. Oh, Nipsey Hussle, man. Speaking of versatility, Nipsey Hussle. One of the most, I mean, it's hard to talk about him because he made mixtapes that were like albums, and he was so versatile in every one of them. He would change up his style, and a lot of times I can't go with you if there's one style that you do that I like. A lot of times I can't go with you if you change it up. I never had a problem with it with him. He always found a
Yeah.
way to do something a little bit different, and I still like.
A lot of people talk about the marathon continues. I mean, that mixtape alone took him from West Coast star to the verge of mega stardom.
It was a
Tape is so good
masterpiece.
it- that people forget it was a mixtape. Like they are confused. Like when I say I'm gonna put this in perspective for the audience, Nipsey Hussle only made one studio album. One. Every other piece of music he ever put out was part of a mixtape series. Victory Lap was heavy heat. Heavy heat. I love to see when young dudes use their art for more than just their art. That
Yes.
dude, man, that vision. The Marathon Continues was a vision. It wasn't just a song. It wasn't just an album title. It was a vision. And he really was making it come to fruition piece by piece.
We've all talked about this before. There are rappers, there are MCs, there are artists, there are entertainers. He was an artist.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
made art. That's what he was. Like he was a hip hop artist. And it's always terrible. I mean, it's not good to see anybody get cut down young in life, but it's certainly terrible to lose somebody so talented that was doing so much good with what he had in so many different ways. Definitely RIP to Nipsey Hussle. Coming up next on the top 10 list of MCs that we lost too soon, none other than Dark Man Unknown, the Dark Man X, DMX. Hard to talk about him because it's still kind of a fresh wound with him. But anytime somebody passes and there's this long of a mourning period, I always think how beautiful it is, at least that you touched so many people. You touched that many lives that when he was gone, people were genuinely distraught for a long time. And I don't think there's anything better that you can say about a human being that when they're gone with all his struggles and all his successes, that when he was still gone, people remembered him for the love. And that's a beautiful thing to say about a human being.
I mean, if you
You
line up all the people in his path and to say, arguably, I think the only battle DMX ever lost was with his own demons because he gave you something that was rare, raw emotion. Like when you think about Biggie and Pac going, it was a tragedy, you know, immersed in so much other, like hip hop was saddened for how all of that played out. But now when you look at Pun and you look at X, it's a different kind of situation. Like it was a sadness because we got to see greatness unfold, but they never got to live in a greatness. X musically gave us classic after classic after classic. And he started to get to that ripe old age that you should get to enjoy the fruit of that labor. And he did it. And that's the sad part, right?
He showed us all of his flaws, and that is rare. It's in men, and it's very, very especially rare in rap for somebody to just openly show you their flaws and be like, "This is me. This is who I am. This is what I'm fighting with." Yeah, and I'm fighting it. So this is me.
I
That's
mean,
special.
Swiss,
That was a tough one. R.I.P. to Earl Simmons. And
oh,
the last MC on our top 10 list of MCs who left us too soon, my man, y'all hear me talk about him all the time, Big L, Lamont Hill. I'm not going to gush about him like I always do, but I just will say that I feel like Big L would have been just Hall of Fame level talent had he gotten to play out his whole career. Because just what I saw he was able to do lyrically, making songs, I feel like you say, the sky is the limit. I feel like he could have gone as far as he wanted to.
I mean, he was in a group called Digging in the Crates. Like, and I'm not gonna hold y'all. I'm not gonna hold y'all because y'all heard us go on and on and on about Big L several times. The reason why we're so saddened by Big L's passing, and it was a very long time ago, is because we got to see what hip hop became after Big L. Could you imagine a 4-3-2-1 with Big L on it? Right,
Reservoir
right.
Dogs,
Could you imagine a Reservoir Dogs with Big L on it? Right? Could you imagine a
banned from
Streets is
TV.
watching, a band from TV? Could you imagine any sort of Dre beat, Himmelin beat? Could you imagine a Ups Jump the Boogie remix with Big L? I mean, a Black Thought Rakim Big L song, like a Nas Jay Z Big L song.
Yeah, that's it. He would have been top tier, and you knew it, and now he doesn't get to be. RIP to Lamont Hill, Big L. And that'll do it for our top 10 list of MCs that were taken from us too soon. We appreciate y'all hanging in there for us. There's a little bit of history for you. I hope it didn't get too sad for you, but we are giving flowers to people who made history. So let's celebrate their lives. That'll do it for Grown Man Morris. Catch us live every Tuesday. And we're going to keep on doing this thing. We'll talk to y'all later on.